Have you ever noticed how a calm mind can really set the stage for a good night's sleep? That's the idea behind our new podcast, Good Sleep. Greg, our host from Optimal Relationships Daily, is here to help ease you into a peaceful night's rest with some positive affirmations. And these affirmations aren't just comforting. They can help ease anxiety and nurture positive thoughts, setting you up for true good sleep. So press play on Good Sleep tonight, because a good tomorrow starts with a good night's sleep. Just search for Good Sleep in your podcast app and be sure to pick the one from Optimal Living Daily. This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2465. 6 reasons not to do F.I.R.E. Why F.I.R.E. may not actually be useful for everyone, by Mr. F.I.R.E. of MrFiner.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Before we get to it, have you subscribed to our other podcasts? We cover personal development, health, relationships, and work on the other shows. Just search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you get your podcasts to find them. But for now, and since you're here, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. 6 reasons to not do F.I.R.E. Why F.I.R.E. may not actually be useful for everyone, by Mr. F.I.R.E. of MrFiner.com. Although I'm a big F.I.R.E. fan, there are certain instances when financial independence, or F.I., may not be the right thing to do. Background on the list. There's nothing that works for everyone, no matter how good it is. The same is true for financial independence, or F.I. Although I'm happy to have been on the F.I. journey, I think F.I. may not be right for everyone or in every situation. Allow me to illustrate a list of 6 such cases. One note about the list: it does not contain the usual myths about F.I.R.E. Things like people get lazy after they become financially independent, or that they spend all their time at the beach doing nothing after getting to F.I.R.E. Getting to F.I. takes a lot of planning, hard work, and patience. Typically, people who can do this are not the types who are likely to spend their post-F.I. life doing nothing. Another thing I hear often is, what if you run out of money after retiring early? There are no guarantees in life, but you can plan for this by having a conservative withdrawal rate. The list is organized into 3 areas: before you start your F.I. journey, during the journey, and after you get to F.I. Before you start on the F.I. journey. Number 1, wrong reason: FOMO, running away from something, etc. I was guilty of this. My reason for starting the F.I. journey was that I was tired of working 24/7 at my job. I was constantly busy and thought that once I get to F.I., I'll never work again. While there's nothing wrong with the approach, I now realize that running away from something is not ideal. You have to run towards something. During my F.I. journey, when I had sufficient money saved, I was able to take more risks. I used my F.I. superpowers to get a job that has a better work-life balance. My initial reason for pursuing F.I. was not that important anymore. The same logic applies to doing F.I. because your friend is doing it, or other people are posting about it on the internet. FOMO, the fear of missing out, can be a big factor, but it's best if you have your own reason to do F.I. Maybe you want to start your own charity, have enough money to travel the world, spend more time with your kids, or never feel stressed out about money. Determine why you want to do F.I. Number 2, going it alone. There's nothing worth doing without having your spouse or partner actively bought in and supporting it, especially F.I., since the F.I. journey can take many years. F.I. also takes a lot of sacrifices, which is impossible to do if everyone's not bought in. For example, one of the big things we did to get to F.I. was drastically reduce our spending. If Mrs. Finer was not okay with this, it would have never worked, or at least it would not have worked as well. When I started my F.I. journey, Mrs. Finer was ambivalent about it. That was because she was not really sure if I was having a midlife crisis, or if this was something I was going to do for a few days and then give up. Even I was learning about F.I. when I just started, so I wasn't sure about it. However, after a while, we both agreed that this was a good idea. Having both of us on the same page was a big plus. It not only helped us stay on the F.I. path, but it also made the journey a lot more fun. During the F.I. journey. Number 3, not having patience. Although I knew this before I started my FI journey, I underestimated just how painful the waiting period is. When I started, the money that I saved and invested looked tiny compared to how much I would need to get to FI. On top of that, the money growth rate seemed small too. For the first few years, I was thinking I was not getting anywhere. Having patience and belief was the reason I didn't give up. And over time, things started looking up. One of the other things that helped was the magic of compounding kicked in eventually, and my portfolio started growing faster. In this day and age of instant gratification and get-rich-quick mentality, it can be difficult to persevere through the FI journey. Number 4, sacrificing too much. After discovering FI, it's natural to want to get to FI as soon as possible. This is called fast FI. However, sacrificing too much for FI can be bad too. The most powerful pillar for FI is saving. In trying to get to FI, some people go to extreme lengths and cut down their expenses, depriving themselves. One thing to note here is that the FI journey takes a lot of time, and living a depriving life for so many years is not fun. I'm not a fan of slow FI either. I didn't want to spend many years getting to FI in my 50s, so I went with fast FI, but I made sure I didn't sacrifice things I valued. After the FI journey. Number 5, thinking FI will make you happy. I learned this after I got to FI. Initially, I had imagined that getting to FI would make me happy. I was surprised to discover that getting to FI did not make me any happier than before FI. It actually makes sense now. Having $1 more than your FI amount does not feel much different than having $1 less the day before. Life suddenly, miraculously, somehow does not change after that extra dollar. This may sound strange, but happiness does not have much to do with FI. If someone's a naturally happy or optimistic person, FI can make them happier. If someone is naturally unhappy, FI will make them more unhappy. They'll have more time after FI.R.E to focus on their unhappiness. And 6, oops, you changed your mind. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. I've changed my perspective on a lot of things. Sometimes it's because I learn new information. Sometimes it's because my thinking changes with age. The way I think when I was 20 is not the same way I think now that I'm 40. One of the big risks with FI.R.E, especially the early retirement plan, is that someone changes their mind after retiring early. This may happen because they may no longer want to do whatever they were running towards, or they may want to do something different. It may simply happen because their thinking changes as they grow older. If someone retires early and then wants to get back into the workforce, it can be tricky. Typically, it isn't easy to get back at the same level or salary after a long time away from work. Also, not many employers will understand early retirement and why someone will want to work again after retiring. In conclusion, this article is not meant to dissuade anyone from pursuing FI.R.E. It's more of an attempt to shed light on potential pitfalls so that you can make the right decisions on your FI journey. Good luck. You just listened to the post titled 6 Reasons Not to Do FI, Why FI.R.E May Not Actually Be Useful for Everyone by Mr. F.I.R.E of MrF.I.R.E.com.
ABC Tonight.
It just takes one great idea to change your life.
Shark Tank returns for its 15th season.
I didn't know I was going to cry right now.
With new guest sharks, Jason Blum of Blumhouse, Michael Rubin of Fanatics, and Candace Nelson of Sprinkles Cupcakes.
I'm going to make you an offer.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I've never seen anything like this on Shark Tank.
This season is a 15.
I totally believe in you.
Shark Tank premieres tonight on ABC and stream on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Google. The Google Cybersecurity Certificate provides the necessary skills to begin a career in cybersecurity. Visit safety.google/cyber workforce today.
As my finances have improved over time, I've noticed an evolution in my relationship with money. Is money meant to be accumulated or is it meant to be spent? I think it's both. Money is only as valuable as your clarity on how you'll use it and your comfort level of how much is enough. You have seasons of life where you accumulate, and then you open up the option of new seasons of your life where you're focused less on accumulation and more on using your money to create a life you love. And most of us will shift back and forth through these seasons many times over the course of our lives. I think one of the dangers of pursuing financial independence is that people think once they reach the finish line, they'll be happier. But of all the people I've met that have retired early, the message is always the same. If you're unhappy before F.I.R.E, you will be unhappy after F.I.R.E as well. The reason is because financial independence is a circumstance, and happiness comes more from the intentional ways we use our time. Having 25 times your yearly expenses in your investment portfolio won't magically change how you feel about yourself and your life. That's an inside job, my friends. There's a wonderful speech that Carl Jensen, also known as Mr. 1500, did at the Economy Conference last year on this very topic. It's called Finlandia is a Lie, and you can watch it right now on the Economy Conference YouTube channel. And that'll do it for today. Have a great day and weekend. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.